Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Friday's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and as you can see by the title and the headlining, we are going to be talking about everything that happened on yesterday's Xbox game showcase. And you know what? We're not going to be regurgitating what we talked about on last night's post show. We're going to come at this from a different angle, I think one of the most pressing questions is why the community seemed to have been so split on what transpired. There are a lot of people that loved the show. There are a lot of people that hated the show. And there's some people, well, they're just complaining because they're complaining to be complainers. And that's very unfortunate because at the end of the day, gaming is supposed to be fun. And Microsoft, in my opinion, did everything that they could with the current times where they are to show off their wares and get me excited for the future of the brand. But we're going to hear from the rest of the panel momentarily. So let's get into the introductions. And we're going to start with our resident PlayStation representative. He is a trophy hunter and Indiana Jones has nothing on him. Please welcome back to the show, BitCloud Gaming.
What's up, man? Good morning. Let's definitely knock these topics out.
Yeah, well, listen, good morning, BitCloud. Obviously, we missed you the last couple of weeks, and your presence was missing for sure. So it's really great to have you back on the show to give us your professional opinion on on everything that transpired. Next up, he's also recently joined the panel. He's our resident chainsaw cutting, Gears of War playing, best voice in the podcast game. Please welcome back to the show, Crispy Bomb.
Oh, what's up, Boom? What's up, chat? Good morning, everyone. I think we have had a great day yesterday, and I can't wait to kind of get into more of it.
Yes, yeah. I know you had a lot to say last night, and I think you're really going to get into detail, at least further detail, because this is a much more manageable amount of people than last night's stocked 8 people on the podcast, and that's a little tough to do, but somehow we pulled it off. But let's continue. Next up, the voice, the excellent, soothing voice of the trophy room. You know him as the PlayStation representative on loan from PlayStation Nation, so we have to thank them and send out that check. Please welcome Mr. Bad Bit.
I was once not a believer. Thank you. I did not think these things could be possible. I didn't know this or didn't think this statement would be true, but I'm a believer now. Microsoft can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Everything's wrong.
Yeah,
and they're doomed. Apparently, I don't know.
Apparently, they are doomed, and I can't wait to actually hear your opinion on it because I know you're going to get a chance to go into it more specific details, and I'm looking forward to it because obviously, coming from a PlayStation fans or centric fans point of view, it's going to be very interesting to the chat that's going to be here listening to the show. Next up, someone that recently have joined Gaming After Dark. You know him as being bullish. Someone with an opinion, not afraid to tell it like it is. Please welcome Titan Drago.
What's up, gamers? A special shout out to King David. I think this is my first podcast with you, right?
Yes, sir, brother.
So bear with me, King, because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest real quick before we even get into this show real quick.
Sure, go right ahead.
No quarter given today, okay? To me, the Xbox game showcase was fantastic. Hell, like the Jeff Keighley pregame was better than the entire PlayStation show. So notice I said the Xbox games showcase, okay? I didn't say the Xbox gameplay showcase. I didn't say the Halo showcase because there's more to this show than just gameplay and Halo, okay?
Yes.
And this show came what it did to do. Right? Simply put, the haters of Xbox simply look like brain-dead plastic box worshipping pacifists at this point. So it's just sad that the only joy and motivation they get, and we talked about this pregame, is from putting Xbox down, right? But I'm going to digress from that, and I'm here to show like in this show, I want to prove to people like exactly why this show was amazing with facts, okay? Because I think people are so blinded by their own thoughts, they've like stopped giving credit where it's due, and these so-called, gamers essentially need like a recalibration of what's good for them, because somewhere along the way, like people stopped recognizing it for themselves.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's a great point. Listen, Titan, we're going to give you the floor once we get rolling into this, because obviously there's going to be a lot of talk about community, something that I am extremely fond of.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I walked away tremendously disappointed in yesterday because of some of the shenanigans that went on. But of course, we don't name names here because that's not what we do, but we are going to talk about it nonetheless. And you know what? Last and in no way least, when I was writing this show, when I was getting prepared for this particular panel, the first gentleman on that list was, of course, King David, one of the voices of the Iron Lords podcast. And he had to be here because on yesterday's show with the Iron Lords, I happened to be lucky enough to be a part of that panel. We got a chance to hear, our live on the air reactions. And of course, there were some post-show coverage done by the Iron Lords, but I didn't get a chance to hang around because I had my big interview with Larry Herb. So listen, King David, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about what happened yesterday.
Oh, good morning, everyone. And let's start off today with a smile. Let's also tip the hat to Boom. Yesterday's interview was magnificent. The wife and, the kids, everybody smiled for Boom because
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
let me tell you, if you guys don't know, I know how hard this man works. We shared time with each other. Yeah. We shared thoughts with each other. We shared goals with each other. And to watch a man grow into his goals, his dreams, and his aspirations is something truly to behold. And I am just beaming with joy to be along for the journey. To say I know this man, to say that I share air with this man is a blessing. So
thank you, dude. That's really kind of you to say.
Very
I
nice.
truly appreciate it. Thank you. Well, listen, obviously, King and I are a lot closer than a lot of people know. We talk on a regular basis. In fact, we talk on the phone, not just through chat or anything. Right. We talk on a regular basis. So thank you so much for the kind words. So listen, you know what? Before we dive down this rabbit hole, I have to say something, right out of the gate. I understand. I am the first person to say that your opinion is important, not only to yourself, but to me, because I challenge no one's opinion because you are entitled to it. And I cannot, I would never challenge someone to say whether they like or hate something. But what I can do as someone who has been a part of this community for quite a bit, who goes out of his way to extend the hand to as many people as I can, I have to say the fake outrage that was going on yesterday on social media was nothing short of the grossest thing I've ever seen in all of my years of doing podcasting and social and being
and
involved
it's
in
sad.
social media. It is sad. And you know what? This is what I have learned from a very good friend of mine who also I talk to personally at least once a week, Wilmy Hood. Block, mute, and move on. It is the greatest tool that I've ever used because you know what? My timeline is I mean, listen, I have almost 5,200 people following me, which to me is still amazing. I'm going to be honest with you. I have to pinch myself with that because I can't believe it. And the timeline could get messy. And it was filthy yesterday, and I had to do some real house cleaning. But let's get into, again, we can easily just go to scores. We can easily go, oh, the Halo is my favorite. But what I want to get into is what King David actually said and the vision of what Microsoft was trying to do. And King, we're going to start with you because you have a really intricate way of explaining what was done, why it was done, and why we as gamers should be very happy, but more importantly, grateful for the way Microsoft as a company is treating us as customers.
Okay. Well, thank you, Boom, for allowing me to go first. Let me tell you something. I gave this 3 scores because the 3 individuals that reside inside of myself. One, the gamer, right? The gamer watched the show and the gamer gave it an 8 because the gamer saw games that he was going to play and he was excited for. But the game is never going to give you a 10 because the game always wants more.
Nothing's perfect.
The game is like, what are you, crazy? They show Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable. Well, you know what? I want a Perfect Dark. I want a Splinter Cell. I wanted everything. So the gamer is never, ever in this universe ever going to give you a 10. All right, so let's put the gamer right there. Now the consumer.
I like that gamer, King.
I love the gamer too because the gamer watched the show. All right, but the consumer sat there with his pen and a pad and was trying to figure out how much money he's going to spend for the rest of the year. The consumer gave the show a 10 because the consumer said, all right, well, how much do I need? All right, I have Game Pass paid up for till 2027. All right, so how much money do I need? What? I only need to purchase a Series X.
That's it.
Wait, every last game from the pre-show to the post-show to from the before party to the event to the after party is coming to Game Pass? Mind you, guys, I want you to remember Watch Dogs was shown in there. I was trying to figure out why the hell Watch Dogs was shown.
I thought about that for a second too. You know what, King? There was a theory. I didn't want to say it. But when they kept reiterating that these games are Game Pass, I'm saying, wow, could you imagine that being the first major third party in there? Wow.
Boom. It's not the first. It's not the first because they keep giving you breadcrumbs. I'm telling you. Cyberpunk is coming in.
Oh yeah, I'm in the greens on that. Yeah.
All right. So right there, the consumer said, "Pack me up. I'm in." Now, even let's say if I'm a consumer and I don't have Game Pass and I'm going to look to see what I'm going to purchase for the year. All right. I got $600-700. I want to get busy. I want to see in between the two what I'm going to do. Well, let me get that Game Pass. I done secured every game that I saw there. It was 22 games. 22 games. So 22 games I'm playing. That's a rip off the rip.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that guy right there gave it a 10 because he's walked away. He has secured his future and he's happy because financially, you know what? I do got to get tires on my truck. You know what? I can worry about that boiler stuff now. You know what? I do think that I can take the wife out this weekend and save that $60 that I was going to spend on Halo Infinite on taking her out to get something nice to eat. All right, so the consumer guy is happy. Now, the business guy. They told Phil and Satya, you have to show me how this is going to make money. You have to show me how this is going to benefit this company. The whole show was geared around residual income. The whole show was geared around not a one and done.
Yes.
The whole show was geared around continuing your subscription. At no point in time out of those 22 games, at no point in time are you going to let your subscription lapse because they're not releasing all 22 on the same day.
Right.
So it's going to be petered out over a large period of time, and it's just going to add and add. So they said 10 plus million. We already know that.
We know it's over 15.
It's over 15.
Yeah.
You have one of the most successful engagement games of all time, Destiny, is going to Game Pass with the new expansion, which is free. If you're going to get it anywhere else, it's going to cost you
at least $40.
At least 40, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you are new to Destiny, And you
Oh,
just
is it the
started
new
Game Pass.
expansion as well?
Dude, yes. It's the
Okay,
new
that's what I was confused about. That's
Yeah.
really
No,
Yeah.
the new one. If you're new to Destiny, this is your first time. You just got your console. You got your Game Pass. You're in. Every last expansion is available.
in there for free.
Okay, they bring a community of millions that engage because I play every day. And 4K 60 HDR confirmed for the Series X. I'm telling you guys, the businessman walked away and gave it a 10. So you have an 8, 2 10s, and everybody's satisfied. If you are a gamer, if you are a consumer, if you are a businessman and you have invested in Microsoft, you have no complaints today. The only person that will have a complaint, the only people that will have a complaint is somebody that has something to fear. Change is coming. So if you don't like it, my digital, I don't like digital, I like physical. Buy this.
Buy the arcade cabinet. Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Buy an arcade cabinet and get ready because it's over. Right now, we are in a world where digital multiplayer, and y'all thought I was capping. Tetris was probably one of my highlights.
Dude, Tetris was dope. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care what
Tetris
anyone
Effect
says.
is such a great game. I'm so happy it's that.
Yeah.
And any PlayStation dude is going to tell me right now, well, that's available for PlayStation VR, or that's available for, you know what it is? It's like a tree in the forest falls. Nobody knows it fell if nobody heard it. But if it's in Game Pass, it's going to be felt, and people are going to understand that we can play Tetris together. So I'm not going to soak up too many of everybody else's time. I just want you to know why I scored it this way. The 3 people that reside inside of me, the gamer, the consumer, and the businessman, and they're all satisfied.
Yeah.
Because
So
they
did their
all
job.
walked away with something.
Yeah. So what Phil Dominus Maximus, soon to be Aurelius Spencer, did was answer all the questions you had wearing all 3 hats.
Yes.
And that was what they were supposed to do, and they did it. Look, Titan, I want to bring you in because I know you're chomping at the bit, but let me just catch up on some of these super chats. First of all, a very good friend of the show. As a matter of fact, he is one of the co-hosts of Primetime Gaming on Monday evenings. Tempest Sun drops a very generous $5 super chat and says this: congrats on the interview, Boom. Well, thanks, dude. Super appreciate it. Also, the fact every game was shown is day one in Game Pass. Absolutely absurd. And PSO New Genesis in there as well. Yeah, dude. I mean, again, there is a lot to be excited about. Oh, very good and generous friend of the show, Sin Vendetta, is here. Thanks for hanging out, dude. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, I just want to say to Undead Labs is please keep the ultra realistic look and tone of State of Decay 3 trailer because my jaw was dropped on the entire time watching that. Yeah, dude, it looked.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a couple of things.
I mean,
One, they showed the fact that the animals are now starting to get infected, which was something that was never done before. And yes, if those, I'll put it to you this way, I don't want to take credit for it. Someone said it. Joe, it could have been you. I don't know. But it just goes to show you that with money behind the development, they could do something special. And I guarantee you that is what State of Decay 3 is going to look like. And if it does look like that, people are going to have to take the hate train, to take the hate hats off and be like, okay, I'm impressed because that looks dope. Yeah. Robert Jones, a very generous friend of the channel. Robert, thank you for being here. He drops a very generous $15 super chat and says this: the biggest problem for the next gen is the mid-gen refreshes. People are trying to compare 4K to 4K and not 720p to 1080p. And it's hard to see the differences. 60 FPS is a feel thing and hard to see. That's a great point. I think that's a really great point.
It's 60 frames per second. It's not hard to see. We saw it yesterday.
Oh, well, we certainly did. And
that really is annoying. They say it destroys the visuals and they can't
it does
see the
not.
difference.
That's
it's
ridiculous.
like, listen, stop.
Yes,
60
thank
is more
you.
capable. It needs to be the standard for all both PS5 and Series X.
I think they have to. I think that with the power that's coming along with these consoles, 60 has to be the standard. D Duplicant drops a very outstanding $2 super sticker. Thank you for that. And we also have Peace and Blessings here. He drops a very generous $2 super chat. Thank you for being here, my brother. Super appreciate it. So Titan Drago, you heard what King had to say. You heard what I had to say, and I have actually some more to say about this. But I think the panel, as well as the chat, nearly 250 people already here, want to hear what you have to say about the messaging and how Microsoft handled themselves on yesterday's amazing show.
Well, let me start this with King. King had a businessman, a gamer, and a consumer. Well, I've got another guy for you, okay? The teacher, all right? And I'm about to drop some information on effective scoring for everyone in the community, okay? Now, boom, I've gone through this show with a fine tip comb over and over, okay? All-nighter last night. I've watched it over because I thoroughly enjoyed it, okay? Granted, there were a few minor setbacks, but let me tell you, I've never watched another Xbox event more than once, okay? I can't say it enough. Like, I loved the show. The messaging was perfect. The show did what it came to do. So my overall score for it was a 9.3, okay? And that's from a professional whose grading is based upon a scale with the correct weightedness assigned, and that's important, okay?
Right.
As we go through the topics, I'm going to let you guys know where I felt that they lost points, right? As we go through this. But finally, on the other hand, we have like most gamers in the limelight on YouTube, on Twitter, and in the community, present company excluded. I've come to the conclusion that they're simply not qualified to give things like this a legitimate score. I mean, take it from me. I'm a teacher, okay? You have to judge the work by the sum of its parts with the correct weightedness. I've heard people only complain about Halo on the show, and they're giving it an 8 of 10. Well, Halo was only like 4 to 5% of the entire show. How can you justify subtracting 20% of the overall score for 5% of the show? You can't. If you did, I guarantee you like 90% of us aren't graduating high school, okay? It's like, it'd be like, boom, it'd be like saying, boom, you failed a few semesters of gym. In high school, you failed a Spanish a few semesters, so you don't get to graduate, boom. I mean, tell me I'm wrong, boom. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
I'll let you guys have it from here.
Well, I mean, listen. First of all, this is the Titan Drago I was hoping to get. It is early by you, but you're already fired up, and I love it because you make a lot of sense. And you know what? You broke it down in a way that I think is, it's funny, of course, but there is truth and understanding behind it. And I agree with you. I think that, especially with like the Halo hate that's coming out, folks, the one thing, and I'm going to get to everyone, I'm going to give you my point on this. It is funny how only Microsoft is judged under a microscope. And again, I don't want to bring the console war shenanigans into this, but you got to call a spade, folks. And, we also seem to forget that this world, the video game world, is a world that requires the work to be done in studio, which is why they have studios and don't work from home. And I got to be honest with you, all of the criticism that came from the May 15th or 14th event, whatever day it was, about how, with the $20 cameras, they rectified everything. It was an A+ presentation show, and it was an A+ in what they showed. Now, again, the only criticism that I personally have, and I said this last night and I'll say it again, is the fact that I feel like the Hellblade 2 segment didn't need to be there if you weren't going to show gameplay. Like, I understand you guys want to show us your a documentary about how you did your scouting, and I think that's amazing. But that didn't have a place there. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's how that could have been earlier before.
Yeah, absolutely. That could have been a pre-show. That could have been a vid doc up on Xbox Wire or something. That did not need to be there. A gameplay or a new trailer showing off something different from the game, I think would have benefited both Ninja Theory, Microsoft, and of course the actual game much better. And again, that's not taking a jab. That's just being completely honest. My other little critique that I had with it was I thought that even though it's interesting to me, may not be interesting to a lot of people, I thought the Psychonauts 2 trailer was a little long. That's another thing. I think the game is going to be great. It's going to be a launch title. It's going to be in Game Pass. It's going to be there with the X. It's probably going to have some sort of X enhancements, which is great. And I'm sure it's going to be an amazing game. I just thought that it was a little bit long in the tooth, considering that it's a show.
Boom, are you saying you had enough of Jack Black? Come on, man.
Well, I don't think anyone can actually say that because quite frankly, I'm a big fan of his. I'm a big fan of Jack Black, so I don't think that really you can have too much Jack Black, in my opinion. But you know what? BitCloud, let's bring the PlayStation centric players' point of view from this. Now, obviously, we saw what Sony did in June. I walked away. I gave it an 8.5. I really enjoyed what they had to show. There were some things in there that didn't belong there. The Bug Snacks thing. You could say what you want. There's going to be an audience.
They'll start singing if you mention this.
They'll sing the theme song. Don't mention.
No. I won't. You don't want to hear me sing. I'll break the microphone. But again, both conferences had that game. You're like, I don't really know if it should be there. Whatever. But I gave it an 8.5, and I stand by that. And I gave this show an 8.5, and I took off points for certain things that I wish that were done better. Halo was not one of them. But in your opinion, considering what Microsoft has done in the past and what they presented yesterday, are you shocked? And I don't think that you are, on how the community has responded. And did you think Microsoft did a good enough job as a company to sell you on the future of the platform?
Yeah. So first of all, the reactions. I mean, let's keep it real. David already knows what I'm about to say. This community will never stop being petty. I mean,
yes.
The reactions to this again. Yeah, I shared one screenshot, but that's like one screenshot of like 20 screenshots that people have like made into memes and have spread on Twitter. And this is something, again, I already knew this was going to happen. I even said this at the start before that show even began. I was like, listen, hopefully the show delivers. Otherwise, you're not going to hear the end of it on social media.
Right.
And as soon as the show started again, there was definitely an improvement here. And I agree with Cognito. Shout out to Cognito, but he said it very, very well. There was definitely a big improvement here in terms of diversity when it came to third-party support and a lot of games on the platform. It's just, in my personal opinion, a lot of these didn't really click with me and a lot of people who watched. Not a whole lot of people were tuning in and were blown away by this. Most people were going in here thinking Ninja Gaiden was shown.
Yeah, which I thought for sure was one of my picks.
My God.
A lot of people thought Ninja Gaiden, and a lot of people thought was Batman was going to be shown here.
Me too.
A lot of people went here with that type of stuff.
I knew that wasn't coming.
I mean, you can tell them all day, but they'll go, "Oh no, it'll be shown." But I'm like, I don't know about all that. But okay, a lot of people thought, all these big third party, games are going to be shown here. Honestly, the game of show, and this is where me and Def Singer had a debate about a long, long time ago before we got into this. But the game of show, in my personal opinion, was Everwild. I love that art style. That art style looks incredible for Everwild. Other game they did a good job with was Crossfire X.
Oh, that looks fantastic.
That looks great.
People are not talking enough about that game.
They're really not. I like the story, but again, people were too lost in the Halo thing. I'm like, yeah, Halo did not really wow me, but let's be realistic. There were some games here that definitely looked good. There was the other game that was shown. Aside from that, there was State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3, I thought was like their Last of Us competitor at first. What the trailer was giving me. I thought that was their Last of Us competitor. And then they went into Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, I'm like, okay, listen, I get it. You're excited that you got bought. You're excited to showcase that, you got more assets to work with. That's fine. But when you're at a game show, newsflash,
you got to bring a game.
The consumer only wants to see gameplay or progression.
Yeah.
And what they basically told me there is that they're far away from production. Let's keep it real. They're waiting for Unreal Engine 5. They're not ready yet. for this.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not ready.
I agree with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, but yeah, so they're not ready for Hellblade 2. I'm gonna save Halo for last. There was one more game that was good. It was Stalker 2. I forgot to mention this in my video review.
Oh my god.
Stalker 2 was nice. I forgot all about Stalker 2. Stalker 2 was another good showcase for this. So that's good. That's good coming to Xbox. And another announcement, which they could have replaced for one of the ones in the main show, was Dragon Quest coming to Game Pass.
Yes, that's a big.
Now, David, hold on.
You know, they fooled me because I looked at Game Pass. You know, if you look at Game Pass right now, 2 of those games is up there right now. So I ran to download it. I'm thinking something happened that they're releasing it right now. So I ran to download it, but that's just the placeholder for when it is released. Yeah. Sorry.
But no, we're talking again. People wanted to say it. Now this is where I'm disappointed, and not even really an Xbox like that. It's really the community. After the whole thing happened, everybody was giving their opinions on it. You had people even come at me saying that, Ryan, you're being a little too negative about the show and what it was saying. I'm like, well, they didn't really wow me with a lot of these announcements. A lot of these announcements are stuff that I was hoping to give more context to, and I find out we're far away from production. Like, for example, I was expecting gameplay for Forza Motorsport. Were you not? I was expecting gameplay.
No, I knew that it wasn't. That game is not coming to next year. The same thing with Gran Turismo. You know, these.
Yeah, they showed an engine. Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's not for day one. So that means you're relying heavily on the Game Pass type of moniker. Plus, it's really Halo. That's really it. Because Halo was like the one that really had like the most. Yeah, it felt like it had the most screen time, didn't it? Even though it wasn't that big of a demo.
But like Halo
was 10 or 11 minutes long. So
they pushed that.
It wasn't running on an Xbox. Well, it was running on a dev kit, right?
It was running on a PC, yeah.
A dev kit. You know, people don't know how to word things properly. If you can't afford a dedicated dev kit, Microsoft gives you the specs, and you get a PC.
You get a PC to build
that runs those specs. So maybe one of the individuals that was in charge, said this. Okay, well, I'm going to run it off of this PC specs because this is my most stable PC, and maybe his dev kit blew or whatever.
Well, not just that, but you have to think of
COVID. In the game. There was like oddly placed textures. It was like, I looked at it, I was like, okay, we'll see, because we're like what 4 months for these consoles pretty much launch.
Yes,
so hopefully, give or take, it will look better in the polished category.
And we know that that's an old demo. Like, we know this stuff. We're gonna stop acting like we're not in a situation where they're not elbow to elbow. They're not looking over into somebody's cubicle saying, "Hey, listen, I need those assets that you have that you put up yesterday. Let me get those assets." You're not in that situation no more. All right, so we're gonna stop acting like everything is normal. A lot of these games that came out for competing systems were done and were getting polished. These are games that are getting done. So let's stop acting like we're not in a situation where we're in a pandemic. All right, so we don't have the luxuries. Stuff that we took for granted is no longer there. And these dudes are working around. First of all, kudos to PlayStation and Microsoft for even delivering stuff that can keep us in a position of feeling warmth, because I felt warmth yesterday like I felt warmth when I was watching the PlayStation show. Sorry for jumping in your segment. I'm just pissed off with people. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Like, I agree with like this whole like with the custom transitions for each particular side, like the Xbox and the PlayStation. Yeah. Honestly, when the world eventually, I use the word eventually, comes back to normal, this needs to be the norm for like their inside Xboxes. I would love Microsoft to take this and transform that into inside Xbox, as well as Sony taking what they did with the PS5 reveal and moving that to their state of play. That should be their style of state of plays and your inside Xbox. That
very little talking, just games, and more games.
Exactly. Yes. If you want to have talk segments, have it be those small little 15-second, transitions. You say something, bam, another game. Do that. That's how you keep flow with the game. You keep us interested. Not 20 minutes of us hearing jokes. We don't want to hear jokes. We're not here for jokes.
Thank you.
We're not here for jokes. Now, Really, my biggest source of really complaint here, again, even if I walked away and I loved this show and I gave it a 10, like again, King said he would give it a 10 from a business perspective. You know, again, I'm not giving it super low. No. It delivered on a lot of points. It just, I honestly thought some of the games in realistic terms, it wasn't going to be enough, especially for this community. It wasn't going to blow them away. And I think I forgot his name. His name's Paris on Twitter, but he made a good point because he was on the show. Yeah, he said, Microsoft did a lot of good things right, but they just didn't do enough for to sell you if you already weren't looking to buy an Xbox. He's like, I don't think they sold you an Xbox or did enough to sell you on one. And that's understandable. But what really is the part that hurts and is the hard pill to swallow. Now, King, Boom, Bad Bit, y'all saw a tweet I did before the show even happened. What did I say? I said, I'm looking forward to this show. My expectations are super high. I can't wait to see what they show, and I'm very excited to what they show. Soon as the show, soon as a little bit of criticism goes into the show, all of a sudden, Big Cloud is the worst. Big Cloud hates the show. He hates Xbox. I've been the most positive person, one of the most positive persons in the community for Xbox. I haven't even thrown shade at Xbox. Mm-hmm. But it just goes to show how twisted people are in this community for the most silly stuff.
Well, you know what it is? It's very unfortunate that on both sides of the aisle, both Xbox and PlayStation, there is a subset of toxic community members that ruin it for everyone, that find a way to twist things and turn the narrative into their conversation instead of speaking truths. And it's unfortunate. And again, what I have learned over the course of the last couple of months is trying to have a conversation with these folks is basically like screaming at a wall and expecting it to say something back to you. You're just not going to get anywhere. So basically, what you got to do.
Mute, move
just
on.
Rock that block
that's
button.
Rude.
Yes,
I'm
tired of it.
I used to rock the mute button, but the block button. Let me tell you,
the block button is
satisfying.
strong. And again, I will give credit to Wilmy because going back maybe 3-4 months ago, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't block anyone. I because I actually felt guilty about doing. Like, I don't really want to block the person, whatever. It's their opinion. But even with that said, their opinion becomes this toxic pool that clutters your timeline. And that's not the kind of gamer I am. Everyone knows who I am. I'm as clear as glass. But you know what? I want to move on to Crispy Bomb. And then, Joe, we're going to have you come in on the back end. Let me just get these two super chats, and they're massive. First of all, Army Veteran, and this is funny. He's a good friend of the show, a very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat, but what he says made me laugh. Yo, Boom, and friends. I just lost it. Come on. Okay, here we go. This chat is flying by. Let me just get it. Okay, here we go. Okay, he says this. Yo, Boom and friends, the Xbox show was whack yesterday. I only found 14 games I was interested in, not 15. I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy like you, and these gamers who complain about anything. Great show. Thank you for that, dude. Super appreciate it. Love the comment. We have a Face 23 BKNY drops a very generous $15 super chat, and he says this: some people disappointed with Halo. Been in development 5+ years, launching in 4 months, adopting the Destiny model. Graphics didn't look good, especially since Xbox and its fans bragging about 12 teraflops. Yeah, but you know what, dude? I mean, listen, I get you. And first of all, thank you for your generosity, and I appreciate you being here every week. I really do. I'm gonna say this about Halo. I saw so much to like about that game, and we also have to take into account this is in no way, shape, or form the final product. This is a demo, from what we're understanding, that is over 6 months old, and it's a demo that they had to figure out how to finish because obviously of COVID. Now, people want to say, "Oh, you're using that as an excuse." Boom. Listen, I'm not here to tell you what you like. If you thought it was whack, you know what? That's okay. That's fine. You can feel that way. But we will see the final product when it's released. But
it's a valid excuse. This thing's hitting everybody. Like, if the schools are shutting down, it is a valid excuse. There is a such thing as valid excuses.
Hey, man, schools ain't shut down yet, We got to ignore the science. We got to go back.
He said, ignore the science. Yo, he said, ignore the science. I'm done. Yo, I just want to say, okay, so Moore's law is dead. All right, and there's a thing called Moore's law where it comes to technology. Now, when you went from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2, I think it was 10 times the power.
Yes.
And then you went from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, and it was like 8 times the power. Then you went from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. Now, the cell processor, it was more powerful than the Jaguar, but the GPUs and the memory that was inside made it 5 times more powerful than the PlayStation 3. That's why when you saw The Last of Us 1, it really wasn't substantially a huge leap in terms of the geometric engine and everything that was going on screen. So it was 4 times as much as powerful, right? Now, these consoles is only 2 times more powerful than the previous consoles. 2 times, right? If you're already gaming in 4K, it ain't gonna get no more 4K-er. Okay, all right. It's just not all right.
Yeah,
so you're already here. Okay, so now what BitCloud is talking about here is this 30 frames per second bottleneck that we were stuck at with these previous gens, and we're going to start to see the 60 frames per second, which must be a standard. Kudos to Microsoft for making sure that 60 frames per second was shown, was put on stage for you guys to get it. All right. So 4K 60 frames per second and a little bit of ray tracing, a little bit of sprinkles, a little bit of dazzle, a little bit of something on top of your ice cream. You're going to get that. But for you to be walking away from a situation talking about I'm wild, this is the future of gaming, I'm seeing mind-boggling things, those days are completely dead unless you're going out and buying a GPU that costs $800 to $900. All right, so calm down, temper your expectations when it comes to the graphical fidelity of these systems going forward. Now, if you have a TCL television and you're ready to make the upgrade up, that's when you're going to see the difference, guys. So for those people that don't see the difference, maybe it's your equipment.
Listen, I certainly don't know, but I want to continue with the super chats, and then we'll get to Crispy Bomb, because Crispy, I know you have a lot to say about the community as a whole and what transpired yesterday. First of all, we have Diego H, who drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he says this: I really enjoyed Xbox's show, but I'm concerned about Halo, especially the multiplayer people. Forget that Halo 5 was beta tested a year before launch. Have a great show, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much for your generosity and, of course, your comment. I think that the beta is going to be coming sooner than later. It's just not something they talked about yesterday, because yesterday was meant to show gameplay on the single-player campaign, which is what everyone has been asking for, and I think they delivered. We have here, let's see, TYARYE 23 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, okay, let's be real. During the PlayStation event, if the PlayStation 5 was never revealed, it would we still be talking about it? I mean, look, I'm going to say this. I really enjoyed the games that they showed, and it's because I'm going to play many of those games that they showed. So for me, it was, again, remained an 8.5 out of 10 or a B+, whatever you want to go with. Would we talk about the show without them showing the console? I think there would have been more questions raised than answered if they did not show off the PlayStation 5. Peace and Blessings drops another $5 super chat and says, I guarantee if games shown were only on Sony's show, fans would be excited and anticipating the games. I saw 14 games with different art styles and ready to play. And yes, again, the word diversity is something that Phil Spencer keeps preaching. People want to just look at it as just words. It's not. They're appealing to many, many tastes and likes because, again, I said it on yesterday's show and I'll say it one more time. Microsoft is a business. Xbox Game Pass is their business plan. Maybe maybe if you look at 14 or 22 games and only 7 of them are for you, you know what? They still did their job, because that's 7 games you're going to invest into the service so you could play. So they did it. If you're someone like me and King who says, you know what? All 22 games may not be for me, but you know what? They're in Game Pass. I'm subscribed, and I'm going to give them a try. You know what I'm saying? So that, take it for what it's worth. We have In Flames with the $2 super chat and says, wasn't bad, but nothing screamed buy an Xbox Series X day one. And I can see the argument there. Sin Vendetta drops another generous $5 super chat and says, I said this on Twitter yesterday, and it holds true. You know, there are times that this community makes it really hard to just enjoy games. And unfortunately, that is a very true statement. We have Avish Plus Productions with the outstanding $5 super chat and says, most of us are spoiled in the chat room. We know what it feels like to game on 4K 60 with the X and PC. So it would take a lot to blow us away. And that's true. We're going to have a hard time distinguishing it, but I think we're still going to be impressed nonetheless. And we have Nightwolf 3186, a very generous friend of the show. He drops a $10 super, which says, love the show and feel so excited for the future. I do feel some of the justified criticism came from Microsoft saying mic drop when there wasn't much mic drop compared to what was used.
They didn't say mic drop.
No, they never did. They never did. You know what, Crispy Bomb, let's bring you into the conversation regarding what transpired on social media yesterday and how you felt this community responded to what a lot of people believe may not be the 10 out of 10 show that they were hoping for, but was a strong showing of the future for the box. What are your thoughts, dude?
At this point, nothing surprises me. We have to realize that some people are just here to hate Xbox and probably not even play games for the love of God.
Yeah.
That we have to understand that you have the power to use your block button. My timeline wasn't quite as bad as probably some were, because I've already started using it a while ago, and it really helps. I saw a lot of people that really enjoyed the show also, which, kudos to you. And there's some great criticisms out there. I mean, there's some people saying a 5 out of 10 and stuff like that. Are you absurd? I mean, you got new IPs, you got realistic looking graphics, you got crazy art styles in there, you got kid games, you got new Japanese games that have never come to Xbox, you got Fable at the end, Halo. I get it. I get Halo didn't look super impressive, but you have to also think of this. Remember when Gears 4, that beta came out? Remember how bad it looked? Okay, remember how it didn't look like it was a next-gen game or even, a new Gears title? It looked muddy and kind of matte. That's almost what I felt like went on with Halo. And you're all of a sudden going to see a lot more polish when the game actually comes out. And I'm hoping that I'm truly right. Yeah, we saw a few pop-ins, stuff like that. I mean, I think they're having issues because of what's going on, personally. But it was a demo, and that, I was like, a demo. Usually they would just like kind of boot the game up and just play it, you know what I mean? So I was like, that's a little weird. And I love the gameplay, so I kind of just ignored the stuff that I saw only because the gameplay was so good and it kept me really involved in what was going on. And overall, like I said, it's an 8.5 for me. Hellblade 2, I think that was a big misstep. I think they're holding it back for a later show, personally. But it's also
if I could just intervene for a second, I think at this point, and I'm just annoyed at just games in general at this point, that was a mistake to show Hellblade 2.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Oh yeah,
yes, because you showed a in-engine, sure, but what we saw at that show, none of it in terms of true gameplay matched what we saw from Hellblade 2. And I think Hellblade 2 gave people the wrong expectations of what next gen's going to look like. Because what you said, King, these consoles are more powerful, but they're also still 4K. And it's not like making the jump from SD to HD. So I do think that was a bit of a misfire. I'm sorry. Keep going, Crispy.
But and all in all, you also saw Ori. They're really going frames per second. You know what I mean? And that excites me because I mean, the only way, you know, like my beloved Gears 5 would get better is if it's 120 frames per second, and then that would be incredible.
And they've already said that that's going to be running on on PC Ultra specs, better than a PC.
So I, you know, personally, that's like my big thing. Like, even I'm just thinking of how good like MK11 is going to look and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, fighting games, really, those frames per second mean a lot. And I'm sure they're going to get a good upgrade on that, even if it's on the back end on Microsoft's end. You got to realize this smart delivery stuff and all this stuff, velocity architecture, this is all like mostly done in the back end work of Microsoft. So they're going to be able to just up gen games, you know, by themselves without even, you know, having the dev do anything. Now, there's going to be some devs that really get into it, but for the most part, they could just do it themselves. And I got to say, State of Decay 3 looked pretty incredible, dude. Like, you know, I went back.
That actually shocked me. How good
I was not expecting it either. Like, that was one I was like, oh, really? And then Avowed, man. Avowed. Yeah. I mean, dude, like, I mean, Obsidian, what are they drinking over there, man? Like, come on. You know what I mean? They got to be having all the Red Bulls, bro. Yeah. They're all staying up all night, man. They're like, yeah, we're pumping out all these games. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that just goes to show you that the talent that is the talent and the commitment to the platform and what being a part of Microsoft means to Obsidian. They have a new DLC supporting a game that came out last year that was in my, I believe in my top 10. I absolutely love The Outer Worlds. The 2 DLCs in Game Pass for free. Okay, so that's great. You're a Game Pass subscriber. You don't got to buy the expansions, which is dope. But if you're playing it on PlayStation or on the Switch or on the PC, that's not, and you're not subscribed to Game Pass. Guess what? You're paying out of your pocket. So again, value. Look at what they're doing with Grounded. Now, again, I said this yesterday on the show. Grounded may not be for you. You might look at it and say, well, that's Microsoft's bug snacks and screw them. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But that game is going to be for somebody. And if it takes off like I think it's going to take off, you could have a tremendous following. And I think you're going to get a lot of that from, of course, the Minecraft community, which is the younger community. People are. Let me tell you something about the gamers of today. A good portion of us are just snobs, right? We thumb our nose at anything that has a color, that's something that's bright red, blue, or whatever, because it's too kiddie. Folks, listen. At the end of the day, people game from the age of 3 all the way to 73. It is a wide spectrum. So you have to get out of this mentality of, well, if the game doesn't have over-the-shoulder realistic graphics, it sucks. Well, you know what?
I need that voice more in my life.
Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, well, it's never gonna beat the cowboy voice, which I hope we get at least today. But people have to stop being snobs. Not every game is for every gamer. So Grounded is not for you. Okay, I hear you, but it's going to be for somebody. And you know something? Did I think it needed to be there? The answer is no, but it was there, and it showed rather well because it looked ultra polished. And the levity in that about, well, if you're looking for the graphics of Game of the Year graphics, look for Cyberpunk. I mean, come on. I mean, that was hilarious. And then they had a Battletoad in the mud, and they're standing on the battle. I mean, that was pure genius, and it was funny, and it wasn't a cringy joke. Listen, I can go on all day, but I want to get to Mr. Badbit. Now, Mr. Badbit,
tag me in.
First of all, how are you feeling, Cowboy Mr. Badbit?
By God, no one could be satisfied. I've come to this point. If it's a PlayStation event, everybody's going to complain about, wiggly little, monolithic structures in the back. If it's Xbox, it's not about gameplay. By God, I can't do it anymore. I am losing it. I truly am, because I viewed that, look, right, PlayStation guy, or known as. And I love games. I just want to see video games. That's all I really want to see. And I understand what this is. It's going to be a lot of CG trailers. And I would really love the people that complained about this event. Watch the Devolver Digital Direct, please, because you're going to feel very attacked. what do we want from these events? I feel like everybody, no matter what event it is, and it's not about Xbox or PlayStation fanboy, I'm taking those out. It's just miserable people at this point. What do you want? I feel like it's come to a point where 2020, we are stuck in our homes. We're aggravated at the state of affairs. We're feeling stuck and we're aggravated and we want to yell at something. I truly believe that's what it is, that we're all kind of miserable right now and nothing could really just penetrate our soul, because what I saw was a great event. It was great. Yeah. It was, I'm not going to sit here going, it's the best thing I've ever seen. No, absolutely not. I take what BitCloud says. This should be their inside Xboxes from here on out. Stop with the corny jokes. Stop with the lame transitions.
Give me a game. I don't want to see fatalities in real life when I'm eating brains.
No, we definitely don't want those.
I want to see games. And so I'll first talk about Halo. I dug the art style in the beginning. I didn't see the pop in because I was just amazed I'm getting Halo. Now watching it in 4K, watching it in 60 FPS, and watching it with my brother, who is the casual, he's the average consumer. Immediately we turned it on. He goes, "Whoa, I don't like this," and that concerned me. He's just like, "This looks like a child's game." That concerned me because he's not going to know like this is an early build. He's not going to know that this was running on, a 6-month-old build. But when we got to the gameplay, he shut up. He's like, "Oh, this is cool. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Master Chief has a grappling hook and he's grappling a barrel to blow up a turret." Like that's where he was coming from. Now, did he walk away, the average consumer, after we watched it the second time, buying a Series X? No. He's not buying a Series X at launch. But what he was very interested in is Game Pass, which I feel like is the thing that we're all missing the point on. I think we want these boxes to fight each other. I think when we talk about Microsoft, I think when we talk about PlayStation, I think we actually want them to lose. I think we actually want Sony to go under when we talk about it. I think we want actually Microsoft to go under. I think those people actually want people to lose their jobs because it's not fitting a narrative that they want, right? If you're a Microsoft guy, you had to love this event. If you're a PlayStation guy, you had to hate this event. If you're a PlayStation guy, you had to love the digital PlayStation event. There can't be an in-between. That has to stop. Yep. We cannot just be defending products just because they have a logo on it. If you love Xbox, you have to be critical of it. If you love PlayStation, you have to be critical of it. That's what being a fan is all about, right? Yes. When you take a look at Jets fans, okay? I don't know sports so much, but they lose a lot, but they complain all the time about that team.
You really love it. You really had to go there, right? I'm a Jet fan. I've been a Jet fan forever. You really just had to.
I'm sorry. That's the only sports analogy I know. But that's the thing, though, is that look, this wasn't perfect. This event wasn't perfect, but it showed us what the present Xbox is, what the soon future of it, and then the far out stuff. We cannot pretend just because they bought Obsidian or just because they bought Ninja Theory a year or two ago that those games are ready today, right?
Yep.
So there is, from what I saw from the conference, games I'm super interested on and games that won me over, like Overgrown. Wait, was it? No, Grounded. Sorry. I don't even know where I got that, but like that really appealed to me. And there were things that I didn't get psyched on, like Crossfire X. I could care less. Like there are things here though, when I walked away from going, what am I excited for? Well, I'm excited for Halo. I'm excited for Avowed, really excited. I feel like that wasn't even a shot at Sony. That was a legitimate shot at Bethesda. And I'm excited for Fable. I'm going to get that soon. A year or two. If they showed me 3 things that I'm excited for and that I know I will buy an Xbox Series X for, they won. And real talk, Halo did not sell me on a Series X whatsoever. Avowed did. Avowed, even I know it's a CG, but that CG trailer is telling me what this game, at least its premise, is going to be, and I'm all about that life. So to me, I thought as a production, on the production side, way better than Sony's event. not even close. Like as a production, they were able to have everyone there, which is a very large benefit to Microsoft. So everybody was there. It was the same quality, whether it was Phil or Matt Booty talking and the other people that were there. Great. I thought the pacing was great. I think it didn't sell us on a Series X, but if I'm honest, the PlayStation event didn't sell us on a PS5 either. So yeah, at this point, I think gamers, we really need to do better at scaling back our expectations. And I also think these companies, both PlayStation and Xbox, also need to do better at adjusting those expectations. Because when we see Halo,
I think people need to freaking learn.
No, it's not up. Like, here's the thing: it's not up to the consumer to learn by themselves. Those companies need to teach us what these things are capable of. Now we can blame Corona for sure, but for me, I like if you're going to show Halo, and it's going to be a older build or it's not going to look as polished. Please say that. Please, because if
they probably should have been like pre-alpha footage or something like that. They should have done something like that.
A little disclaimer,
Yeah, because when I'm looking after this event, I'm not looking at what the PlayStation guys are saying or the Xbox guys. I want to see what the devs and the communities around those games are saying. And the community around Halo was in the beginning negative, but right now are kind of lost. Like they're still unsure, I think is the better word.
Greeny said that you played Master Chief the whole time. I said, okay.
Yeah. But again, like that's fine for us, and that's fine for the community for Halo. But like, seeing content creators on YouTube, Halo content creators going, okay, I still have a lot of questions and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, that could have been presented a little bit better on the outset. And there are also other things that like come to light that like State of Decay 3 looks cool, but they're in pre-production. That game has barely even started. So we just have a CG trailer. So there are things that they didn't hit the nail on the head 100% of the time. But and as a PlayStation, preferred player, I was not convinced to go out there and buy a Series X, but I was convinced that Game Pass is the future. And that is the thing that I think we all need to kind of get a grip on, is that, look, if we want to do the console war bullshit narrative, right, of like, oh, selling more things because it matters to me, it validates my person. Well, guess what? If the new metric is counting subscriptions, guys, you won. Guess what? I concede. You won. You beat us. Feel good about yourself. And then wake up and then know that none of those profits are coming to you. You won 15 plus million subscriptions. You beat us. Congratulations. Walk away happy knowing that though those 22 games, maybe some of them, maybe half, maybe only one or two of them you were actually excited for, you could play all of those games for $10 a month.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's the future.
Mr.
You know?
Yeah. One thing walking away from it, and I just had a wild epiphany. I mean, besides the medium, which is day-to-day Game Pass, which is nuts.
Looks dope.
Yes, it looks crazy. Yeah. What they're doing is nuts. That's the only game that I think that you can't play on the Xbox One X, right? I think it's just Series X only and above. Like, you don't even have to buy a next generation system.
No,
you can literally sit down on your Game Pass and just mind your business and let those joints launch. And whenever the price drops to a comfortable price for you, whenever you decide to make that jump and you decide to walk over and put your money down on that table, there is no mandate to your head. No. And I think that was the genius in this show. Yeah. Where we're going to show you 60 frames per second. If you want to obtain that, you can cross over, you can make it over. But listen, if financially right now you have more pressing matters,
exactly,
join us in Game Pass.
And that's the thing, though. Like again, watching my brother watch this event and him being the average consumer, he was just like, okay, so like Miles Morales is coming launch, and I'm just like, yeah, it's gonna be a shorter experience. Like, how about PS5? And then I'm like, okay, still didn't sell. He's like, no, but what's Game Pass? And I'm like, bingo.
That's
Like,
it.
a lot of
No.
people forget that, like, whether my brother will buy Game Pass and maybe play Halo, whether he buys a PS5 and just has Game Pass on the side, Microsoft's making the same amount of money. It doesn't-
I mean, that's
That's
a really
the truest victory there.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I mean, listen, everything. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing
Sorry, I
it
got angry.
100%. No, dude. This is well spoken, and I think it was very clear and concise. Your point, and I definitely appreciate it. What I want to do is I want to move on to the next topic. It's an interesting one that I don't know how long we're going to spend on, but I think it's worthy of a conversation. But let me just catch up on some super chats, and there's been quite a few of them. Nightwolf 3186 once again drops another $5 super chat and says, "Mr. Badbit, thanks for clearing that up. I guess my point then would be people are talking that if MS did say that, and they're just running with it. Yeah, Microsoft never said that came from the media. Night of mic drops. And I still think they had them, but listen, whatever. That's just my opinion. Abacaba72 drops a very generous $5 super chat, says they should have switched the Hellblade announcement with the pre-show Dragon Quest 9S announcement, and it would have been better. Yeah, we're gonna get into that right now, so stay tuned. I think you're gonna like what we have to say about that. DRAM90 drops a very generous $2 super chat, says honestly can't wait for Grounded. Yeah, you know what? It's not the top of my list, but I'm gonna play it. And
as the person that memed the shit out of that looks dope now.
It does.
It looks cool.
It does look good for sure. Smitty Smith, our brother, bringing us back to church with the outstanding and extremely generous $20 super chat, says hello, Boom and panel and chat. I just wanted to say thank you for being the best possible representative of us New Yorkers and gamers alike. Just wanted to show my gratitude and appreciation. Salute, brother. The Book of X. Well, dude, thank you for the compliment. That's Smitty Smith.
Smitty Smith. Hey,
yes,
Smitty Smith. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Smitty. Definitely appreciate you being here. But of course, your extreme generosity. Duplicant drops another $2 super chat. Says Stalker 2, Fable, Halo. I'm very happy. Something for all. Yeah, indeed. And again, I really, I don't want to mess up the quote, but Luke, who is a part of the Xbox Factor podcast, and of course the host of the Xbox Expansion Pass, which everyone needs to check out, has always said that, and he said this numerous times on many of the shows, that if you walk away from an event like the Sony show or the Microsoft show, and there are 3 to 5 games that you like that you're going to play, then they've done their job. And I think that there are a lot of games here that I want to play. And I think there are a lot of games that a lot of people want to play. So I do think that they did their job. We have Raymond Morel dropping a very generous $5 super chat, says, I'm a Jets fan. And as well, you bastard. Just kidding. LOL. Show, great show, guys. Keep up the fellas. Well, thanks so much, dude. Appreciate that. Noom Sabat, who is a very generous friend of the show and was very generous on last night's post-show coverage. He drops an amazing $5 super chat and says, is it Sunday because I just lost it. Hold on a sec. Where are you? Okay, man, I hate when I lose these things. He says, is it Sunday because Mr. Badbit out here preaching, and I love it. Yeah, like I said, Mr. Badbit, that was a fantastic segment for sure. Spider-Man drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the X Series X event was amazing, and so as a any Sony fan complaining it sucked, enjoy paying $60 or $70 for PlayStation game for the PS5 game. I'll enjoy the SSX games on Game Pass, and that's another thing. Again, take it for what it's worth. People consider it an excuse. I think it's a valid conversation. Shotgun Blaze Z drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says great show today from the for the Boomstick panel. Even if we have disagreements, I like everyone's opinions. And you know what? That's really what it comes down to. We can have an adult conversation, even though your opinion is different. It still matters to me, and I think that more people need to think like that. Smitty Smith once again drops another super chat for $5. Says, but my goodness, the Everwild had me like, good Lord. Yeah, Everwild looked dope. And we have another one coming in at the last minute. The Wandering Dutch, who is going to be a guest on Monday evening's Primetime Gaming. Cannot wait to work with him. He drops A very generous $5 super chat says Game Pass is insane. The XSX and Xbox GPU 12 months around 600 you get for the you get fixed and all of the games. PS5 and three-quarter games around $700-800 to start you next generation. And that is a great point. You know, what I want to do in this part of the conversation, and no one is talking about this, which is why I decided to make it a topic, is the Japanese connection. And I don't think people are really looking into this as being a big deal for Microsoft and the Xbox platform. Now, look, if you are a Sony fan, which I think most people here have consoles, Sony consoles, PlayStation 4 Pros, understand that as a company that is so connected to the Japanese region, being Sony, they are going to be privy as a force in the entire world, you know, regarding the brand recognition, that a lot of the Japanese developers are going to want to put their games on that console. And for two reasons. One, out of respect for the brand, because they're Japanese and it's a very tight niched community there, which I respect and love about that, about Japan. But more importantly, and from a business point of view, it's because they have 110 plus million consoles. Could be 115 for all I know. And they are the lead dog in the market. So, of course, if you are a developer of said Japanese game, you want to put that game on that system because you're going to sell more copies so you could make your next game. Again, business 101, folks. No, I'm not saying anything that's going to be like, yo, that Boom, he's a rocket scientist. No, I'm a boob. But I'm just breaking it down for, you know, in very layman terms that, yes, at the end of the day, this is a business and they're in to make money, and they're going to make money on the PlayStation, even if it's a niche, even if it's 3 million copies sold of Japanese game X, it's still 3 million copies sold, and it's going to be a big win for that small developer. Well, we have heard Phil Spencer in the past talk about how Japan and that region of the world is important to not only Xbox, but he made it personal. He said it's important to him, and he's hurt every time a game comes out from Japan on a PlayStation that's not on his console. He said that live on an interview, and that means that he's saying the truth and that it really bothers him as what? Not as a guy that makes 6 figures, 7 figures. No. A gamer. A gamer wants to play games on his or her preferred console, and he wants to see these Japanese games that a lot of people discount on the Xbox brand, and holy matrimony have they delivered. First of all, we have to, again, I don't know the full list. I don't know what else is coming. Ninja Gaiden, we heard was going to be there. It wasn't. Is it still coming? Well, heck, I hope so. I don't even care if it's just Ninja Gaiden Black, just remastered. You know what? I'll take it. And I think most people would. But the two games that we have to talk about is Dragon Quest IX, first Dragon Quest ever on an Xbox console. Folks, this is huge. But that, as big as that is, may not be as big as the next one I'm going to talk about. And that is Yakuza Like a Dragon. 1 year exclusive. Coming to the Xbox Series X at launch. Folks, listen, maybe it's not your kind of game. Maybe the Japanese humor and storytelling isn't your bag of chips. And you know what I would say? I hear you. If that's not for you, guess what? I'm getting the t-shirts made. Not every game is for every gamer, but they are for somebody. Now, King, I want to go to you first on this because you and I had this conversation many times before, and you know Phil. You've talked with Phil regarding this subject. How big of a deal is it to see that Japanese connection coming to the Xbox brand in a big way, and more importantly, into Game Pass in a big way?
Man, it blew me away that now you're starting to see franchises that is not traditionally known to be on Xbox making their way and doing date and are in Game Pass. This is a different era when I tweeted out earlier that the new Microsoft Xbox Nation, it's a different feel to it. It's a all-encompassing feel that they're trying to tell you that whatever your demographic is, whatever your tastes are, it's going to be satiated in Game Pass. You don't have to worry about Yakuza. If you've never played Yakuza, you can go right now and play it from 0 to the next version that's coming out later this year. As far as games like what is it, Kingdom Hearts, those games that aren't traditionally launched inside Xbox. I believe Final Fantasy is coming. These games that are not traditionally launched inside Xbox, that are known to different regions, are being cultivated and talked about and released inside Game Pass to give you that different cultural experience. So let's say you're not a traditional RPG person and you're the over the shoulder or you're the first person dude, and you've always felt that you wanted to try it, but financially you didn't want to take the splurge. Well, now that burden is lifted from you. And you have to say, who did that for you? Who thought about your needs when other companies was like, well, you have to get another job, or, well, I'm sorry, but you just have to dig a little bit deeper or wait to get it on sale. No. Date and date. Come on, join us. If this is not your bag, we understand. Hey, if Grounded is not your bag, hey, we understand. It's other things that it's here for you to try. And it's becoming a hotbed for quality games. All right. It's not just filler, because I hear this Game Pass filler crap. I hear it now. Well, I'm sorry, buddy, but when you have games like, hold on, because I know I want to say a game that is a traditionally Japanese game. Oh, I put streaming. My bad. Because I have the streaming app. Oh, speaking of that too, those games will be able to be played in the cloud when you are at the store. If you're playing, let's say they bring back Blue Dragon, right? Which I traditionally was hoping for Blue Dragon to show up, and it didn't show up. All right, that's a Japanese RPG game that I want the sequel to, and if that game is released, then I'm going to lose my mind. So now that you have Japanese RPGs and Japanese cultured games becoming commonplace, that removes the narrative that that's not where they can thrive. Once you see companies see that happening, see it thriving, and the metrics comes out and they say, oh, well, the engagement numbers is truly up, where all the Final Fantasies are playable date here, except for this last Final Fantasy, which is on PlayStation, which looks amazing, but I'll get it when it comes to Game Pass. I'm not going to spend the $70, $60 for it. I'm just not. I have a backlog.
Just get on PC. Come on, join the dark side.
No. Well, yeah, PC.
I need to get on camera, look me in the eyes, and embrace your destiny.
Listen, PC for the Game Pass. Yeah, if it's Game Pass for PC, yes, of course, I'm in. See, it's like having that's like somebody's telling you, yo, let's go out to this restaurant, and you're a member of a buffet that you eat free. Like, what? I'm not going with you over there to go spend some money. When I go, I eat free here. I'm paid up for years. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm gonna continue to eat my stuff at the buffet. But they like, well, over here we do it a special kind of way. That's special and all. But I'm over here. I'm gonna put some shrimp inside my ice cream just because I can, and I'm just gonna sit over here. So you're at a point now where no, I'm not going to spend money if I don't have to. I'm not going to do anything and I don't have to. And this is the luxury of Game Pass. So yes, when the Japanese or the games from non-traditional, let's just say non-traditional games, because I don't want to label them as these games over here because we have great foreign RPGs that are from different cultures, and different type of games are now commonplace, and you're able to touch them. Phil wanted that to happen. And when Boom said it pained him that he can see these games being played over there, but they're not even giving the second look. Like, if you're not even giving the second interview and you're qualified, that pisses you the hell off. Now he's getting that second look. Now he's getting that first call.
It's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts to the new games too, especially in Japan. They're notorious for not supporting it. So hopefully they get more.
I believe that the level of support that you're going to see from the fact that Game Pass is showing steady growth.
Yes.
And showing like here it is. I always have this app ready to go. And and when I can jump into any game here, like Dungeons of the Endless, Bard's Tales, games I will never purchase ever in this life. I assure you, a nickel is not coming out of the king's pocket for this game. But now I'm playing it. I've been sucked into Neon Abyss. It took me away from playing Ghost of Tsushima. And you're going to laugh at me. You're going to say, oh, Neon Abyss. Try it one time. Try it one time. And you might find yourself finding your next new game that you're going to love. So the level of diversity is not shocking to me that he's going out and seeking these games that aren't traditionally played here. He wants it to be commonplace. So when you look at your diverse lineup, they want to see how diverse you are truly going to be. If you're just that Call of Duty dude, or are you going to try something different?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's really great points, King. I mean, obviously, you use the word diversity, and I want to go to Titan Drago next on this. Titan, one of the words that I've always grew up around is diversity. And the reason why I appreciate it so much is because my childhood was shaped with, my parents being second generation, my adopted brother, African American, my wife, Puerto Rican. Where I grew up was, there was every race, shape, size, religion, and sexuality were all involved. We got a little bit of everything, and I loved that. And I think that made me a much better rounded person. But we're talking about games. And I want to equate that conversation to what Phil Spencer has done for the Xbox community. And he, again, like King was saying, diverse lineup, bringing games traditionally only found on the Nintendo console and the PlayStation console, both very, very subsected Japanese companies, very popular in that region. Microsoft, not so much. But now, listen, we know for a fact that Phil Spencer has, since 2018, gone over to Japan over a dozen times. We've heard that they want to make a Japanese exclusive studio in the scope and scale of what they did with the initiative. That's coming. It's not ready to be announced yet, but that's coming. In the meantime, they have found a way, and I say they, I mean him. Phil Spencer has found a way to get those games only found on PlayStation to now come to Xbox. How big of a deal do you think this Japanese connection is to the platform?
Well, I got a couple things to say. I guess I'm going to start this with, I thought it was a brilliant move by Xbox that they made. They took a lot of these, non-mainstream games, and they handed them to Jeff Keighley and said, hey, go nuts. Call it a pregame. Call it a warm-up. I don't care. Here you go, right? Mm-hmm. I thought that was brilliant because I thought that, it would have bogged down the amazing show, in my opinion, right? Because those games aren't meant for, a lot of us here in the States, right? It's I don't know about most of us, but I know that I don't care much about these Japanese games and stuff like that. It's not my bag. It's not my cup of tea. But it's funny that you said diversity makes you a better person. And I've got another example of that. And just, let me say again, this isn't for me, but am I going to hate on this move? No. Am I going to get these games on Game Pass? Probably not. But am I going to hate on it? No.
All right.
My thing is, it shows how Phil is such an amazing leader. He has given Xbox a relationship with these Japanese games and stuff, right? With these connections. He turned nothing into something.
Yeah.
And that's what people are drawn to. That's what's admirable. People don't care. People don't admire taking something and turning it into nothing. Right? Anyone can take gold and turn it into crap. Anyone can blow their money and just buy worthless crap. Anyone can do that. But
I do that on the regular. It's fun.
Yeah. But turning nothing into something is the real trick in life that I think a lot of people miss out on. Right? We're called content creators here, right? That's what we're called, not content destroyers. And this is what Phil does, and this is why people respect him so much, and it's also why he has so many people that hate on him.
Yeah. No, it's the truth, and you know something. It's a shame because at the end of the day, I could not imagine sitting here thinking it's a bad thing to bring games to your platform. And somehow, unfortunately, there are folks in this community which you try to just block and mute and move on, but they do have a voice. And you know what? You just have to put them on the pay no mind list. My dad used to tell me that when we were kids. You know what? When someone's being an a-hole, put them on the pay no mind list, and you'll be much better for it. And I think that's what people need to do. And you know what? Listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. BitCloud, obviously, you represent PlayStation very well, I might add. And I love what you do with your channel, but I think that you are fair. And someone who is a more PlayStation-focused gamer who understands that some of these Japanese games, maybe not all of them are for you, but the fact that they're there for you to play gives you an advantage over the regular Xbox player. That advantage seems to be shrinking now because Xbox is now starting to get some of these Japanese titles that, again, not for everyone, but there are for someone, no doubt about that. How big of a deal do you think this is for Xbox fans?
Well, first of all, like I said, looking at the market, especially over there in Japan, Xbox needs all the Japanese support they can muster.
There you go. Xbox. That's a great point.
That's just a common fact. In Japan's, literally, in Japan, they're notoriously known for supporting their own. Just because they have so much that supports them, their own product.
Yes. Well, they're very proud people there as well. And
they're proud.
Yes.
They're stubborn too. So they have games that cater to them. And if Microsoft can get into that and offer the same type of games and offer it in Game Pass, then guess what? They can sell you an Xbox or in the ecosystem. So it's good. It'll be interesting to see how it goes from this point forward, though, and how it builds over time. But so far, I mean, again, it's good. I want to see more, though. What else they got?
Yeah, and I agree. And yes, obviously more is always better, but there needs to be a starting point, and I believe that they are on to something for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those. I don't think we'll see the main serious results of it until probably midway through the gen. That's when we're really at, because if you judge it too early, it's I don't know, give it to the mid of the gen, and we'll see exactly where they're at in the end results.
Yeah, something, it's going to be interesting because you know what, you're right. I think that when you start seeing games launch simultaneously on both consoles, is going to know you're going to know for a fact Xbox.
Yeah, because it's not going to happen overnight. That happens over time.
Certainly not.
Yeah, you got to give it time. So
yeah, and I agree. Something you plant, you can't expect. You planting an apple tree on Tuesday and expect and 3 days from that Tuesday.
Exactly. That Tuesday. You gotta let it mold and grow.
You gotta grow it, you gotta nurture it. And I think we're gonna see that. Crispy, I want to bring up a great point, but let me just catch up some of the super chats. My brother, I got from it says here, Flea Reaper drops a Flea Reaper in the 89, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom and friends, great show. Grounded would also be a good game for Ark Survival Evolved fans. I didn't even think about that, dude. That is a genius statement because you know what? That has a huge community, and you know what? They could easily migrate over to Grounded, something that's a little different, a little maybe a little less serious, but something that they would be interesting. Wandering Dutch drops another $5 super chat and says, "Great point, Boom. The Japanese developer confidence and relationship repair is amazing and apparent. Still hoping for one day for a Lost Odyssey 2. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants Lost Odyssey, or at least a one remake of sorts. We also have here Victor Alistine drops a very generous $5 super chat. Welcome to the show, Victor. He says, Game Pass shows Xbox willing to spend for exclusives like The Medium, Scorn, and great content. Next stop, WB. Hope next show will be, yeah, and I still think that happened. Next show, they will sell us on the hardware. And I believe that some of the games that were not shown might, again, this is possible. I'm not saying it is what it is, but they might have held some games for the hardware reveal of the S.
Oh, they for sure did. That's a fact.
I absolutely agree with you. We have here that's what Do Baby drops a $10 super chat, and he just simply says, "Great show." Well, listen, first of all, thank you for being here. Number one, thank you for your extreme generosity, because that is very nice of you, and thank you for the compliment. We're definitely glad that you're enjoying the show. Now, listen, Crispy, one of the things that people seem to forget, and when they talk about Phil Spencer, he's a calculated man. And I say that because his vision has always been out there in the open. Just people do not want to see it. And what happened about a month and a half ago? Game Pass launched in Japan. Now we have, again, I'm going to shape this so you can take this ball and run with it. Now, one of the major games in Xbox Game Pass that was shown, besides Dragon Quest IX, besides, of course, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Phantasy Star Online 2 is still one of the most MMO titles in Japan. They play it like it's new. The game is old as heck, but they still play it. They love it there. And what did they just do? They released Xbox Game Pass in Japan. Now, Japan traditionally, many years ago, and King and I, we used to import all these consoles, so we understand, but console heavy. They're not like that anymore. They have become a mobile market, playing in cafes, on their phones, on their tablets. Microsoft has introduced what? Project X Cloud. Oh my goodness. Project X Cloud is in Xbox Game Pass come September, and it's going to be launching potentially, from what we understand, in Japan as well. What's going to be in Game Pass? 3 very popular, heavy Japanese related titles. This is the Japanese connection I'm talking about. It's a big deal for us as a Western audience, but it's an even bigger deal to get Microsoft products in the hands of the Japanese culture. How big of a deal do you think this is?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. I mean, they're already, especially in South Korea, they're playing the heck out of xCloud. So it's already working. And it's still in beta, which is pretty absurd how well even, everyone that has gotten into the beta, I didn't really try. I have an iOS device, so it's, I don't know, there's something going on with that. Yeah. Well, we know how I expected it, because I was like, well, Microsoft and Apple don't like each other, so we know that's going to be a while. Eventually, Apple will be like, oh, we got to do it. You know what I mean? But it's always one of those things.
Early Apple. Next year, from what I hear. Apple wants a cut.
They play nice with Samsung, though.
Yeah. But I mean, Phil's been putting in a lot of work. I mean, he's been over there a lot. And I think it's all like to build this whole little ecosystem there that fits that area. And I think it's going to be way more xCloud driven. I think that's the whole point of it. I think that's why he really pushed, gave a reason. He went to Satya and say, hey, we get these Japanese studios, we build xCloud, really good servers out there, maybe upgrade them first because they're going to use it a lot more. You know what I mean? And we really build a great ecosystem there, and you have billions of people, billions, you know what I'm saying? And they're on their phones constantly. If you ever watch documentaries or people on YouTube that go to Japan and stuff, these people are in, I'm like, how do they even walk sometimes? I'm like, it's multitasking at its T right there.
Do you know, Crispy, everybody forgets about the deal Microsoft has with Samsung.
Big
Yeah.
deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a
And you're right about
deal.
that, King. Yes.
Yeah, I
They
don't
might not
forget
even
none
get
of
to
this
buy a
stuff.
console, man. They
Yeah.
might not. If you get a Samsung TV, there you go. I mean, and Phil's been doing a lot of work that nobody's seeing. He's quietly going about his business. Oh yeah, Sony's kicking our butt, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you
Mhm.
know, and it's fine. But I mean, Microsoft's been making a lot of money this past couple of years, man, especially in Xbox. So, you know, they're gonna go the service. Then they're gonna sell the software. They're fine with that. They're going to give us options. They're not going to get rid of the con. I know everybody thinks this is going to be the death. No. I'm telling you, there's always going to be a place for consoles. They're just going to temper expectations on how much they sell.
Chris,
You know what I'm saying?
Consoles are going to be flash drives. Accept it. It's not going to be consoles. Stop it.
Maybe in 20 years, when a flash drive is as powerful as a Series
When the
X.
PC falls off, when there's no longer PCs, then there will no longer be consoles.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, when the PC is dead, that's when the console is dead, because that's when we make that transition. As long as NVIDIA is still making GPUs and AMD is still charging an exorbitant amount of prices for GPUs, there is absolutely no way in this earth that's going to dry up and go away. And you think the market for people that don't want a PC but still want to have the PC type experience that we're getting with consoles is just going to walk away from that? No. Hell bent on making sure that happens. Trust me.
No, I mean, and that's a great point. And Mr. Badbit, obviously, again, someone I enjoy having on the panel because he does have a PlayStation background. You know, you get a chance to play a lot of these Japanese games because
you don't do it,
and you don't, but you don't do it because, but you have the ability to do so. So again, maybe that those types of games aren't your bag, and we hear that. But if they are your bag, for the console you play most, they are there for you. Now, in the past, one of the biggest criticisms, one of the biggest cries or the outrages or whatever you want to call it is Microsoft doesn't have any Japanese games. They suck, right? And of course, Phil Spencer has heard this. Phil Spencer has talked about this publicly, privately, and he's also said it in plenty of interviews. Again, like I will reiterate it, that it hurts him as a gamer that he can't play that said Japanese game on the console he wants to play. Now, will he play it on a PlayStation? Probably, because he's a gamer. But now he is positioning the platform to support these types of games. And one of the, again, two big ones, and I said it in the opening and I'll say it again. People are just not equating the weight of having Dragon Quest 9 on an Xbox console. It is one of the biggest things to happen this year. And yes, is the game a little old? Sure. Does it look amazing? Yes. Is it going to have all the the DLC in there? Yes, it is. And it's the S version of the game, which means that it's going to be the best version of the game, and it's going to be in Game Pass. And even more insane is Yakuza Like a Dragon. They somehow got to Sega, locked that down for a year, and that is coming out now. Granted, it did release in Japan last year for the PlayStation 4, so it has been out. But that people from America, the PlayStation community, is not going to get a chance to get that, and that's because Phil didn't cock block anyone. He wanted it for he wanted it.
Definitely did.
Yeah,
but
he wanted it for his platform.
Man. Well, so it kind of goes into what I've been thinking. So I don't know how well Yakuza critically did in Japan. I know a total outsider looking in, I know it didn't sell well, or as well as Sega wanted it to do. And this is why when we were freaking out about the Yakuza, series going on to Game Pass, Sega's doing that because the audience in Japan is shrinking. It's pretty much they've made so many games that people are like, okay, we're
another one, yeah,
yeah, it's kind of another one. That's why this game is a peculiar pick, because it's changing the formula. Right, they dropped was this supposed to be Yakuza 7 or 8, and just made it like a dragon. It's now a turn-based style instead of the beat 'em up style that they have, and it's a totally different thing. And Sega and the Yakuza team even said, "Hey, if you don't like the fighting style, we will go back." Like, that's how apprehensive they are. They know that they're taking a risk. So how do you minimize that risk? Well, you look for investors to help pay for that project. So Microsoft coming in there, Sega wants that because it minimizes the risk. If it's big and it's successful, well, that's good. They're going to make money. They can see that they have an audience here, and then they'll invest more games on the Xbox console. So that's the main reason why Sega and Yakuza is doing it. It's a great opportunity, though, for Microsoft to see, hey, listen, this is a game that is known to be on the PlayStation platform. Let's take this from them. Right? Let's, at least here in the West, where now, I don't know how the fans are taking it, because it has been primarily on PlayStation and now suddenly has an exclusivity around it. I don't know if that would make them mad or whatnot, but it's a great idea for Microsoft to kind of step in there and go, hey, look, people from the West that love, Japanese style games, we have stuff for you. We're here too. Microsoft usually dips its toe into in the Japanese marketplace and go, ooh, too cold, and kind of steps out. Where Phil is putting his whole foot in, because it's selling the service. And I think this is another thing where we lose the point on. Microsoft is a service-based corporation. They are about selling you services, whether it's like PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, or whatnot. They're there to sell you things, sell you services that retain quality over time. So they're seeing it as, okay, if we're going to invest in the video game market, it also needs to have a worldwide presence, which is why you saw such a diverse lineup of content creators that were from other parts of the world, whether it was Ireland all the way to India, right? You were seeing it there. And so seeing a Japanese style game goes, okay, look, if you're outside of America, if there's a company like Microsoft, it's just viewed as an American company, not like a national company. So this is how they're kind of trying to erase that by giving something to everyone that's not just a demographic, or it's regional as well. So yeah, this might not do gangbusters here, but where it will do possibly gangbusters is in Japan, is in places like South Korea, right? So I think that this is a big get for them. And then when it comes to Dragon Quest, that's also huge. This was awesome. Like, we could say that, yeah, it's like a 1 or 2 year old game, but it's still, Xbox is showing you, hey gang, we're committed to this. We are committed, and it's not by them going, all right, Final Fantasy VII Part 2, we're gonna pour millions upon millions of dollars into getting its exclusivity for a year. No. It is about the smaller titles first, because they're dipping their foot in and seeing how well that pays off, to then see how far they can go, or how much further they can go investing in Japanese companies. So I think the Dragon Quest thing is a huge indication that Microsoft is taking this seriously, and Yakuza, it's Microsoft's taking this seriously. And I think that's what we ought to talk about,
No, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, their dedication to bringing these types of games proves to me that they have an overall big picture outlook. And again, sometimes people don't see the big picture, and that's fine. If you don't see it, and maybe it's just, and maybe you don't see it because it's not for you. Maybe those games are not in your wheelhouse. Maybe you wouldn't play them even if they were in Game Pass, and that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine. What I want to do is I want to move on to the next topic, and this one, again, this one is out of the blue. I wasn't sure if we were going to get to it, but I'm interested to hear what the panel has to say. Not a lot of substance, but it's the responses I'm interested in hearing. And I think that the 400 plus people here in the chat are going to be interested to hear that as well. And we'll start with King. King, we saw that the event has come and gone, right?
Yes.
Some people we are reeling in delight. Some people are reeling in, of course, disgust, and that's fine. That's their opinion. Now we have to talk about what happens next. We know there's an August show. Larry didn't say so on my interview and on and hanging out with Dealer, but he did say enough, in my opinion, to suggest that we do have something coming. They're just not ready to talk about it yet.
He didn't deny it.
Yeah, no, he didn't deny it. What does, in your opinion, what do we need to see in August?
Well, all of them alluded to that there's more more bullets in the chamber.
Yes.
All of them. Matt Booty basically told you while he was standing right there, okay, yeah, we have 15 studios. You only saw 9. That means there's 6 left out there. So let's look at the elephant that's inside the room. All right, Sony standing in the corner like you know August is coming, right, bro? Right? And I remember that there's 3 games that I was told that would be on the Sony show, and I'm gonna stand on that square and I'm waiting for those 3 games to be shown. And it's this ridiculous, dumb rumor. The game I'm about to say right now is not one of the 3 games, okay? It's a ridiculous, dumb rumor that they're going to show God of War and that all the realistic graphics of the face. And I hate people that act like they have sources, but they don't really have sources. And it would be foolish for these individuals to even believe that God of War would be shown in any form other than the JPEG, like Fable, right? Because
maybe a trailer. Maybe the closer you get is probably like an unfinished trailer.
Yeah, it's just something vertical sliced, whatever, And if this is where you really must be afraid. If they do a Miles Morales type of thing, then I can see that being a true statement, and I would really be upset. But enough about them. But and we're talking gaming as a whole, people. All right, we're talking gaming as a whole. We know August is coming. We know the crunch time is here. We saw 2 SKUs from Sony, and we know 1 SKU from Microsoft. We heard Microsoft canceled 2 SKUs as far as the Xbox One X and the digital SAT edition of the Xbox One. So they're going to fill that void. That void will be filled. One part of that void is full, and we're waiting with anticipation for how the console will look when it comes to the Lockhart, because what I'm hearing, it doesn't look like those renditions of the Series X. Yeah, it doesn't look like that from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it has a totally different look. And I don't know who it's marketed to. And well, I understand the consumer it's marketed to. I don't understand if it's marketed to the console, like your space, because these new consoles, they look like they're taking up a large amount of our space under our shelving. So, and I do, trust me when I tell you, I do love the way that the PlayStation 5 looks. So I don't care. It's going to go right there on the side. If it doesn't fit inside, I don't give a hell. It's gonna work.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna work. But I see they're going to give us a reason why we have to purchase, because neither one of these dudes have given us a reason why. Right? There's no, oh my God, I can't wait, and throwing money at the TV. It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened. Either way, somebody, if you're a Spider-Man fan, then you threw in your money. There's Miles Morales right there. All right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, you threw your money at the screen. But if you're not, then it didn't resonate with you. Right. So just, get that through your head. For some people, they're not Spider-Man head. All right. They're going to have to give us price.
Yeah.
Because we have to know how much to sock away. We need to know. Right. So you can't wait too long. And that's a battle. They're playing a game of chicken with each other. We have to see why. And I think those big ticket items will be shown in August for why we must purchase and how much we must give. Those 2 questions will be answered in August, and then leading into September when we start to get that rollout for when, we're going to start getting those games. And then I relieve the release dates. It's going to be dropped the same day as we get the how, the why, and the where. And we'll be very happy. I believe it's in November. I believe we're going to range from, with the PlayStation, I believe it's going to be anywhere from $399 to $499. Those two SKUs in there. I believe the Series X comes in at $399 to match the cheapest SKU on the PlayStation, and I believe the Lockhart is meant to undercut them severely. And Game Pass will be in both boxes. And I believe that we get a November date. Now, who launches first? I have no idea. That's anybody's guess. But I also believe that we're going to see 3 top titles, the titles that they're talking about. Microsoft might give you 5 titles, but I believe Sony will give you the 3. And that's what we got to look forward to in August. And I cannot wait, because I wait with bated breath for when they say we're ready to showdown. That's the real showdown. This is the lead up. And it's going to be the real showdown, because price is always the indicator of how much money that's going to come out of your pocket. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. Real quick, Diego H drops a very generous additional $5 super chat and says this: Nimble, who is he's on Twitter. If you don't follow him, you should.
Oh, Nibel.
Not Nibel. I said this is Nimble. Nibel just tweeted, "There's a rumor going around that Halo's multiplayer is not releasing at launch." At fall, and will come at a later date, and says something about Brad Sam said the same thing. I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing it. I am going to tell you this, that's a big deal. It's a big conversation, and it's one that while we're doing this live on the air, I am working on Monday's show. It is ridiculous how I just cannot stop thinking for a second. So on Monday night's primetime gaming, there were 2 topics that are going to come up, and Halo releasing without multiplayer is one of them. We're going to be discussing that in full detail.
I really hope that's false. I
hope it's false. I think it is false, but we will
more likely it's true, because they're
it's true.
Yeah, they're like force feeding. They're like feeding you like bits and pieces of the game. It's gonna be like a service.
We definitely will see. But
the last Halo.
Let's bring Titan Drago. Titan, what needs to happen in August? What for you personally?
Well, next month it's time. It's time for the hardware. Like King said, it's time for the pre-orders. It's time for a similar mic drop moment like they had with Fable, the mic drop of Fable in this show. But next month's mic drop needs to be coming from the initiative. Right, right at the end of the show, boom! This is what the initiative is doing. Same type of deal as Fable, man. Bring it. That's what I want to see, and I think that would serve them well. And I think it's also. I don't think they'll do this, but I think it should be comparison time. On paper, Microsoft has everything. Less a slightly, faster SSD, but after the SFS Intel came out. We're coming to see that even that's negligible. So I say, and don't even call it PlayStation. Just say the competition. Yeah. If you don't want to mention their name, just say the competition. This is us.
I like what Phil said too. At the Halo thing, Halo will run 4K, 60 FPS with ray tracing. Well, not at launch, but that's what he said. Like that. You don't even need to. That was I think they're equivalent to this is how you trade in your games from 2013. There's no way around it, gang. There's no way to spin it. There is no secret sauce. You know what? Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PlayStation 5. Now, let's get over it. For the people that are defending it, that are falling on the blade, get over it.
Yeah, I would really just do the hard numbers. Leave it with the hard numbers. The hardware comparisons. Boom, do that one last time before you put these things for pre-order. Right before it, right? And also compare the services. Why not, right? Show the side-by-side comparisons of the numbers of the games in Game Pass and the games in PlayStation Plus. Show once again the games that are going into Game Pass, because you think about it, Bug Snacks. You're
gonna get them to
go into PlayStation Plus. Think about that for a second, right? That's all I got to say about it.
No, I mean, listen. Obviously, you had a lot to say, and we definitely appreciate that. And BitCloud, for you, what in your opinion, again, coming from a PlayStation perspective, what does Microsoft need to do in August?
All right, so For sure, pre-orders definitely. We're gonna have to
Yes.
get that in August. That's what I've been saying for the longest. Even with these dudes with quote unquote inside sources or sources, have been wrong every single time. I've been saying August, you're gonna get that stuff in August. This seems about right. So August, you'll get your pre-orders. They'll showcase the price finally. If they don't talk about Xbox Series S, then I think it's safe to say Xbox Series S doesn't exist, or that's another revision of Xbox Series S. You know. So Lockhart needs to be shown here at this point. And we need to get like a just quick little few minutes of that, just showcasing, hey, look, yeah, this is our cheaper option. This is what it does. It's going to be cheaper, blah, blah, blah. Get that out the way. As far as games showcased there, I would like to see, again, this is more of a wishful thinking announcement, but I would like to see Ninja Gaiden there if it's true.
Yes.
Not necessarily gameplay. Just a trailer, say something like that.
Flash a name on the screen. I'm good.
That's fine. They did that with the Order 1886. I didn't have a problem with that. I have no problem if they did, do that. The initiative, I would like to see, not even gameplay, just give me an indication of what you're working on with over there in the initiative. Give me something. It's been a little too long. We haven't had no updates for what they're doing, and many people are wondering at this point, like, what's the big secret? So I would like to see what's up with there. Another thing they probably could do. Again, another wishful thinking announcement, but I do think it's on the table. It's just probably they just didn't have time for it. Can we hopefully they can put the end of this rumor, if it's true or not, just announce it. Perfect Dark. Just get it out there. Is it true? Is it not happening?
True or false? I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like to see too. And yeah, I think they'll be fine from that point. Whatever else the studio's working on, we don't even know what Compulsions Games is working on.
Yeah, that's again. I was disappointed that's one that wasn't there. I thought we were going to get to see that. Supposedly, it's a BioShock meets Uncharted. I'm looking forward to that.
I would like to see like a screenshot, something. What are we looking at here? What's looking like? Give me something. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at going into this show.
Excellent. Well, great points, dude, and I agree 100%. I don't think that would change anything. I might add to it, but I certainly wouldn't take anything away. Crispy Bomb, for you personally, what does Microsoft need to do in August to follow up this show?
I think they really have to showcase what it's capable of, in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's even doing what they did with Ori, you know what I mean? Because you could kind of see a slight difference, especially if you're watching on the right TV. So it's still hard to tell with the stream. That's why you have to really go back and watch it in 4K, but also the stream, even in 4K, is running at 60. So you have to keep that in mind. So it's tough to do, but I mean, hopefully they can figure out a way to do it. You've got to show Lockhart. If we don't see it, there's either they're thinking of releasing it later, or maybe it doesn't exist, but from all indications it exists. You gotta have the price, pre-orders, or at least when the date is for the pre-orders.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And then you gotta see. I gotta believe that. I think we're gonna see Hellblade 2. I feel that inkling. I don't feel like they're that far behind to not give us a little bit more.
Do you think that they had Hellblade for that space? And they were just like, pull it back.
I feel that way. You know what I mean? Because it felt so out of place.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's one of those wish though. Yeah, I do.
And that's something I'm like, man, it doesn't feel right the way they did this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is just like kind of random,
Yeah, it was like the only game they said, yo, we're going to talk about the sites that we did. And if you want to know about it, go to the website. What?
Yeah.
I'm all for Ninja Theory. I love the first Hellblade. A lot of people who are hyped for the second one, they even play the first one. I'm like, but it's like, listen, if you're gonna hype up the scenery and do all this, you could have done that in the pre-show. I don't need to see this on the main show. I really don't. But
I think
it would be a nice surprise if at least we see a trailer going into the second one. Here's another trailer.
Obviously, that's a pretty good game to showcase. You know what I mean? So, and then maybe we hear something about Halo multiplayer, maybe.
Maybe. Well, we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like
That is-
that really bumps me out, you guys.
Yeah, they need to explain it.
Hopefully. Now
But
it's like,
Crispy-
hopefully.
I
Crispy,
really hopefully
honestly,
that rumor is not right, man, because that
Crispy-
is
yeah.
hitting me hard.
We're
Well,
kind of
you know
looking at
what-
a Last of Us 2 situation with Halo at this point. It's going to happen later. We don't know
Yeah.
when.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
We'll
think-
see if people bring the same energy, because a lot of people were disappointed about the factions not being there. That's coming in as a separate on its own kind of a thing. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to be definitely making a couple of calls to a few small sources, whether or not this is true, and it's going to be a big leading story on Monday evening's prime time. So tune in for that. But last but not least, Mr. Boomstick, that's me, Mr. Badbit. As we get on out of here.
I love you, man. Yeah.
I mean, for you personally, after seeing this show and having a lot of high notes on it, how does Microsoft respond, and what do they need to bring to the table for the August show we know is coming?
So, if I'm Shuhei Yoshida, if I was you, I'm looking at the event and I am not nervous. Like, if I'm Sony, I'm not nervous one bit. I don't feel pressure. We're confident in what our messaging is. That's how I took it. Is like, for the PlayStation fanboys, I don't think you gotta sweat too much. So looking at Microsoft going into August, yes, they have to bring the heat. They have to bring those 4 or 5 games that we haven't seen yet, while also providing a little bit more than the CG trailers we saw. We have to answer those criticisms, which I hope that they do. So to me, I would love for them to show more Hellblade, at least give us a small vertical slice of what that game's going to be like. Because honestly, if it's not happening, if they're not showing us anything of Hellblade next month, it was a mistake to show it in the first place, because you elevated people's expectations so high as to what the next gen was supposed to look like, or to what their expectations were, and they were out of whack. So I think they need to bring the heat. I think they need to bring Hellblade 2. I think they do need to bring Perfect Dark in. I think they do need to bring in whatever the initiative's doing. Yeah, just give me a PNG, stock photo, whatever it is. We know that game's going to be out. Metroid Prime it. Hell, let it be Metroid Prime 4. I don't care.
What the hell happened to Metroid Prime?
It's Nintendo. They forgot about it. But that's the thing. They need to bring the serious power and, yes, showcase that power of that console. I want to see. I want walking out to feel nervous for Jim Tap Dancing Ryan, because rumor has it PlayStation has 3 more big games to show you. I would like to see from them. Yeah, give me what you're going to provide services wise for me. Let me know the price of the PS5, because I think Xbox has done a way better job of what the services are for them, what the console's capable of doing backwards compatibility wise. So I think if they hammer home the final pitch of, hey, we're Xbox, we're about bridging generations, not tearing them down or building walls, right? And I think if they do that while then showcasing, hey, here's some second party stuff, and then showing Ninja Gaiden, which is, to me, I associate it with Microsoft, and bringing that into the fold and going, hey, we know that there's a love for this here. We're bringing it back. This is an Xbox exclusive, no timed exclusive nonsense.
Straight up exclusive.
Xbox exclusive, and this is the power of the frame rates, the power of the Series X. Make those second party deals. Sony, if I can give Sony one credit, is that they know how to wheel and deal with second party.
They sure do. Yeah.
So show us that you can do that too. So I think if they're able to bring some games we haven't seen before, give us a more optimistic future of what the power of this console is, and then showing that price, being competitive on that price, they need to continue to be aggressive, while at the same time, I think what they also need to do is patch up a few of the cracks in their messaging that was leaking out after this event. Kind of patch things up and have that solid foundation, because they're doing so good so far. They need to make Sony nervous. And I think if there was only one failure of that show, is that they didn't make Sony go, okay, because if it did make Sony nervous, they would have put out another Jeff Keighley holding the DualShock controller backwards, right? There would have been there would have been something today instead of Ghost of Tsushima, congratulations, Sucker Punch, selling gangbusters, right? There would have been something bigger about that PS5. So to me, make them nervous. That's what I want to see.
No, I listen. What a great way to close out three massive topics. Three topics that the other guys, so to speak, aren't talking about, because I like to make these shows thought provoking. More importantly, I like to make the conversation enjoyable so that when you are listening, it's not regurgitated. So I want to thank the 400 plus people that came out today. Of course, these super chats once again continue to blow me away with the generosity that this community shows myself and Double Barrel Gaming. It is honestly and truly appreciated. Let me just get a couple that came in last and we'll get to the outro. Sin Vendetta, once again, my brother, he shows his generosity. He says, King, what's wrong with saving for these consoles before we hear about prices? I've been saving since January, and he has 1,500, so you're good to go. There's nothing wrong with saving. I tell you right now, I'm right there with you, brother. I got $800 in gift cards.
You want Jesus?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. We have Clutchman01 with the $5 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, but more importantly, thank you for hanging out with us. He says, point of contention, what should be the industry timeline standard from a game's reveal trailer to gameplay trailer to release date? I just think that games need to just take I don't even know if I have an answer for that. I think they have to just be ready. And depending on who you're asking, Sony doesn't mind showing games 5 years out. They don't. They're in it to sell consoles. Showing Spider-Man 5 years before it released was great for them, right? It sold gangbusters of consoles for them because they sell hope. Microsoft is a different ideology. They do the 12 to 18 months thing. Do I think they need to go a little bit further? Potentially. I'd like to see games 2 years out, maybe just a little bit, but again, each console maker is different. And last but not least, we have Beaner8127 is here. Thank you for your generosity. He drops a $5 super chat, says we should start a delay hashtag, a delay Halo hashtag. It's clearly not ready and can't release looking like that. We need to demand better because they can do better. I mean, listen, folks, there's going to be a lot of questions about Halo, and it's some we're going to be talking about. Either if we don't talk about it on in full detail on primetime, we will get to it on Xbox Factor, potentially both programs. But let's get to the outros. And we're going to start with BitCloud. BitCloud, my brother, thank you so much for being here. Definitely appreciate you being back in the saddle, so to speak. You have a show going on this afternoon. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, check out your program that you have going on this afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Boom, you can't get rid of me. I see what you're trying to do.
We wouldn't want to, sir.
I'm kidding. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good show. You guys can follow me at BitCloud Gaming on Twitter and YouTube. RHD Podcast, 5 p.m. Eastern today. Can't wait to talk some games. But it's a good show.
Well, thanks for being here, dude. Super appreciated. And you know, at the end of the day, yes, it is about games. We have to remember that it is about gaming, folks. So let's just play games and enjoy ourselves, and keep the criticisms down to a low roar. Next up, we're gonna go with, of course, another member who's a regular panel member here every week, but he's not just here. As a matter of fact, he's on a multitude of shows. Besides being a panel member on Breakfast Room, he's a part of the Retro Renegades. He's also a part of the next podcast. Do me a favor, Crispy Bomb. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, but also check you out on these other shows.
Oh, great show today, guys. Really appreciate it. I always love talking games with you guys. And the chat was fire today. It's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. this week. And next week, and that's all. Saturday we are not doing next, so and that's gonna be it. We'll see you on next Friday.
Oh, thank you so much for being here as always. And again, having you a part of the program is a big deal for me. You bring the fire each and every week, and today was no different. Of course, another member of the show who's here each and every week, the PlayStation representative who is on loan from the PlayStation Nation. He's the subtle voice of the trophy room. Joe, do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can check out your outstanding programming, but also follow you on social media, which, by the way, you're close to hitting 1,000 followers on Twitter.
Oh, dude, I hit it.
Oh.
I'm at 1,006 followers on Twitter. Everybody, I made it.
You did it.
My ego has grown tenfold. Every time I'm like, I'm going to cut in line because I have 1,000 Twitter followers. When people tell me to wear a mask at Costco, I go, hey, you know how many Twitter followers I have? Nuh-uh, not today. And then you know what they do? They kick me out for being a big dumb idiot. So here's the deal. You can follow me at Bad Bit Games, where we talk about all things game news, reviews, unboxings. We have our reactions up of the Xbox showcase. So you want to watch it again? It's with me and the Insipid Ghost, Mr. Luke Lore himself. And then I will be doing a video over the weekend. I'm going to be watching the showcase again and then watching the PlayStation 5 showcase and kind of talking about what I like from both of them. I know it's crazy. I'm pitting up positivity against each other.
On you.
Shame on me. And if you want to hear some amazing PlayStation talk this week, go over to the Trophy Room. It's on Bad Bit Games. It's also on podcast services around the world. We talk a lot of positivity about Microsoft. It was the night before the big reveal. And then we also did something for our patrons, but I think I'm going to put it out on Monday about our reactions to the Xbox showcase, and it would surprise a lot of y'all. So that's all I got. Boom. Thank you once again for having me. And yeah, at Mr. Badbit on Twitter, so you could give me more of an ego. That'd be fantastic.
Well, there you go. Actually, get
love you all. Thank you so much.
Next up, Titan Drago. Titan, obviously, you have now become a part of Noof's show, which I think is a big deal because Gaming After Dark is fantastic, and you do bring the fire on every show that you're on. But also, want to thank you for being here. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, but also check out what else you're doing within the community.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Boom. Always awesome to join you in the panel. And King David, awesome doing a podcast with you for the first time.
Nice.
Thanks to the chat. I saw a lot of familiar faces, and hopefully some of you can catch us on Noof show on Gaming After Dark and everything at Titan Drago, everybody, where you can help me bring the common back to sense.
Yes, well, thank you for that, and we missed that. We definitely missed that, and that's something missing from the community. Common sense. Don't talk about it too much. You may enlighten people, and then of course social media might clean up. And last and no way least, we have someone here that's a brother. He is someone that I've had a chance to hang out with, live with for a week at E3 last year. Got to know him on a personal level, and he is, of course, one of the powerful voices at the Iron Lords podcast. He's also one of the representatives of lordsofgaming.net, and he also has a little program called something about boxing big, very expensive Marvel and DC statues called the King of Statues. King, do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can check out all of this content, but also follow you on social media.
Well, you can check me out. Well, first, I would like to thank every last one of the panel members for bringing common sense to the uncommon, right? Right, Titan?
That's right.
And great to meet you and have these conversations that make people uncomfortable. Y'all don't want to have these conversations. Y'all don't want to use common sense, but we're going to try to fix you guys. Well, you can catch me at Iron Lords Podcast Sundays at 1 p.m. You can also catch me at Dolph Castle X. That's DCX tonight at 9 p.m. That's my statue group that I'm with there, and we talk statues. We talk upcoming statues. We talk unboxing. We talk comic books. We talk video games. We talk everything under the gamut. So we definitely be talking about the Microsoft show, and also King of the Statues. I just unboxed Miles Morales. I put that up this week. This was a hectic week. Yeah, go check it out.
I'm checking it out right now. You think I'm kidding?
lordsofgaming.net.
He dropped the statue, Babbitt. No, I'm kidding.
Yo, don't it shatters. It's not plastic. It's not PVC. This stuff, if you drop it, you're gonna cry for real. You're gonna really bust out some real
Oh,
tears.
you got that one. No.
Yeah. So, guys, check us
beautiful.
out. Catch me on Twitter, King David OTW. I'm telling you now, some of you don't want the smoke, some of you want the smoke, but y'all don't want it. I'm gonna beat you to death with 3 memes. 3 memes. That's all I got. 3 memes. I ain't got too much. Just 3 memes. But thank you guys for coming out. It was a great show, and I'm so happy with Boom. I think I watched that interview probably 10 times. I really
dude,
do,
that's
and I
awesome,
added to
brother.
my
Thank
favorites.
you so much. I really appreciate that.
I got to only watch the first 5 minutes because I was like so dead tired. So I was like, after the show, I'm gonna watch it. But just seeing your excitement, like that's like
I was
it's
giddy.
palpable, man.
I
You were
He
so
was
giddy.
definitely
It was
good. You can
awesome.
see him
But-
shaking
but
in the interview.
What y'all didn't
for that,
get,
for sure.
what y'all didn't get is Boom spoke this into existence.
Mhm.
And that's something that we talked about. I think we did that right before we got those tacos. But Boom spoke it into existence.
Yeah.
And that's how beautiful this whole thing is.
Well, you know what? This is just another step in the direction of me taking a picture, standing in front of the Xbox sign at Redmond, saying, "Folks, just want to give it a heads up. I have been hired by Microsoft." That is the goal, and I think it is going to happen. You know, again,
Hey, don't forget about your friendly neighborhood Titan Drago.
we certainly. My dad always used to say, "Throw it out to the universe." Every now and again, the universe is going to answer. And you know what? Before we get out of here, one big super chat just came in. The Wandering Dutch. Again, dude, your generosity is not to be believed. He drops an additional $10 super chat. He says, let's round this up by 10. Great show by all. Level-headed, great opinions, no fanboy nonsense, and no drama. Fresh air. Well, thank you, dude, for that and the compliment. But more importantly, thank you for your generosity. And I'll close out the show with, look, I want everyone to have a great weekend. I want you to be safe. It is going to be hot on the East Coast. Drink fluids, stay hydrated. It's going to be hundreds, and it's going to be over 100 degrees with the heat index, so you got to be safe. But more importantly, this is the best time to game on whatever console you enjoy, whether that's the PS4, whether that's the Switch, whether it's your PC Master Race Monster $8,000 rig, or the Xbox One, but enjoy gaming wherever you want to play. And of course, I'm going to close out with the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully, it will be important to you. Treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Take care, everyone, and have a great weekend.